Hello. According to my computer, it's July 24th. This is the hour we call sharing the word. We're currently working with Divine Union, a channeled text through Paul Selig. And as has been our habit, we're going to begin with a clip of Paul and the guides. So I'm going to play that now and then hand things over to our gorgeous facilitator, Amy. So let me do that.
When you decide something based on evidence that you've accrued through past ideas of what has been, you intend to claim the same thing without even intending to. If you've decided that where you had your coffee last week was the finest place you've ever had a coffee, and you go to the following place the following week, you will find yourself having a replicated experience in most ways. Your decisions bear outcome, and the decision one makes through the common field based on evidence procured in the common field or through your idea of what has been will always seek to justify itself. Now the divine self or the true self come as you that knows who and what it is and how it serves is not bound by historical data. The divine self who knows who and what it is as with and through you is not commandeering historical data to support the choices that you might make. To realize, which is to know, outcome at this level is actually to align to an outcome that has not yet been outlined or decided upon through the evidence that the common field has had. Now, what we mean by this is you are always seeking outcome, and the divine self is not biased in terms of what can occur. The divine self is not limiting source in its definition of potential. The claim that we have offered you multiple times thus far, it can be so, it will be so, it is so, is in every way the opportunity to stretch beyond what has been declared as fact. Now, the idea of fact as being transitional is actually quite present in your field now. You doubt what you are told. You doubt the meaning of an edict. You doubt the outcome of something that you are told one way, but perceive it perhaps to be something else. When one begins to debase in some ways an idea of reality, to claim a potential for something other, there is always confusion. This instruction is not intended to confuse, but it is intended to support realization beyond an old system. And the manifest old system that you look at, what you think to be, what you think should be, born in an idea of history, must now be seen as transitioning. History itself, primarily an accumulation of ideas born in an idea of evidence, because that is the best you can hold, supports ideas that have been procured through the common field. The names that an event has been given, the idea of what occurred, the idea of when the flood came, when the lava flow struck, the idea of how things must be as a result of those things, perhaps recorded in an idea of time, in an idea of history, are simply the best that you can understand the events that humanity has experienced. But what humanity has experienced has also been authored by humanity in ways that it does not yet understand. The transition of a species from one tone to another, the lifting of a frequency from one note to a higher note, always involve a shift in the idea of what has been precedent or what has preceded it. Now, understand this, you have the idea of a revolution, and a revolution is generally an outcome of the past ideas that have demanded that things be changed in abrupt and real ways. The things that accrued evidence through history that caused the revolution, or the idea of what must be changed, must be seen as the evidence of past choice. It is always the collective engineering, in some ways, choice. It is always the collective idea of what a government is, how a king might rule, what one may benefit from or not benefit from, born in historical data, that ends up being made so. What is occurring now, as the shift is occurring to a higher level of tone, is that how choice is perceived is other than it was, because you are not just looking at the menu of past events to navigate the field that you are now operating in. When you operate an ocean and you have a compass and you have a sail and you have a rudder, you are seeking to find the shore that would give you what you require. When you move to the upper room, the old maps are not present in the way that they were. The old coordinates may not work. The old ways of getting what you think you should have may not be there as you would have them. And this is useful, but it is only a transitional stage. The idea of where humanity as a whole is currently moving, shared by many of you in a course such as this, is to an idea of self that exists in a different level of transmission. And while that would be accurate, what you don't yet understand is that the transmission that is occurring is actually destabilizing the structures that you have known yourself through. And when a structure is destabilized, the first thing a human being will seek to do is hold on very quickly to what she believes will be firm, what they believe will be solid, what they believe they can trust in. But when manifestation itself is moving to another level of tone, even the earth below your feet cannot be trusted as it was. When the manifestation of the divine self occurs, the physical body must render itself new. And by that we simply mean lift to a level of vibrational accord which may hold the higher tone. This is in some ways a re-seeing or rebirth of a structure. Now, the bodies that you see in the mirror are indeed the bodies that you will continue to see, but how you begin to operate and perceive through the senses, beginning now to operate at a higher level of tone, may in fact be quite different, may in fact be quite other, because the solidity that you have counted on in the common field has been moved. Now, when something is moved from one floor, perhaps of a building, to another floor, perhaps there is a different entryway, perhaps a different view out the window, perhaps your neighbors are different than you thought they were prior. And this is exactly what happens, and the requirement of the species right now is to situate itself in a higher level of vibrational accord where it is not seeking to commandeer only what it has known in terms of outcome through choice. When you move to the higher floor and you say, okay, what is available to me now? What may I understand now? What might my experience be now? You begin to elicit the opportunities that are present here. When you immediately seek to decide that you should have what you have known, that it should come to your doorstep as you have had it, that your neighbors should be the same, and how you participate in community should resemble exactly what it has, you will be floundering because everything, in fact, is other than it was. He interrupts the teaching. That sounds rather drastic. Is it that drastic? In fact, it is. And indeed, Paul, you are undergoing such a transition at this time. Some are moving away, some are coming forward. How you wish to spend your time is other than it was. All of this can be seen as opportunity as long as you don't think that it must be as it was, because if it is not as it was, you won't get your needs met in the ways that you have become accustomed to, which is actually deciding in advance that the needs that you actually hold, whatever they may be now, may be other than they were.
Hmm. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Happy Friday. Isn't it funny how even when we don't necessarily work a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, we still look at Friday as the same. So isn't that sort of a good segue into released from history? Oh, does anybody have any thoughts about what we just heard? Sandra, if you, I wasn't sure whether you were responding or not.
I, when you said any response, I thought, wow, that's all. Wow. Um, as he was as he was sharing what the guides were telling us, it was like I was taking it in on multiple levels. Personal things of which, how I expect things to be because of the history, and how I predict how people will behave, or I predict um, what will happen. And so I was taking it in on that level and simultaneously thinking about how our country is changing, how the world is changing, and how miraculous it all is. I mean, what did I write down? To realize without the common field evidence anymore, to realize beyond the old system. And I thought, well, isn't that what a miracle is? Because a miracle says there are all these physical laws, and that can't possibly happen. You can't possibly, throw a mountain into the sea, as Jesus said, But if we let go of what we think we know, really anything is possible. I mean, our species never thought it would be possible to fly through the air, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the wow came as like it can be exciting, it can be scary because he also said it's destabilizing and that even the earth under your feet, you know, may not be the same. So I mean, when you called my name, I didn't know I was going to say all of that, but I did. So there it is.
That was great. Thank you. Thank you. It reminds me of uh, living and not knowing, which is I first heard that phrase from Jenny Beal, who used to do podcasts with Cindy on the Center for Awakening. Always living in not knowing. Okay. Who wants to read today? Cindy.
May I add something to what you just said
Yeah.
that really was reassuring to me when I spoke with Jenny once and I asked her all these questions. She's so good. And while you're living in the not knowing, she told me that you can trust that there is a benevolent
Mm.
power behind this.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. So I just wanted to add that.
I do too. A benevolent intelligence. I love that too. I really do. Yeah. Okay, Cindy and Sandra, do you want to read? Okay. Um, Libby and Dago. Okay. Let's see where we get. Cindy, do you want to start? Does everyone know where we are?
I'm going to start with the words, when you say to us, well, I do my best.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yep.
On
What
page
page are we on?
We're on
64.
page 64. Yep. Middle of the page.
When you say to us, well, I do my best, we know you do. When you say to us, I know my will is something that I must overcome, we say you are wrong. The will is something that must be offered, not overcome. Your choice is present in this process at every stage. Once the claim, I have come, the monad risen as you, has been invoked, the process undergone is indeed alchemical. But the realization of the process is still occurring with a level of agreement that must be so. Finally, you are protected in every way because the soul claims all opportunity for growth, including what you think might have been a foolish choice. I wish I didn't marry that man. Well, you learned a lot. Perhaps next lifetime you will have a nice walk in the woods and say, well, that was interesting. Let's not do it again. Each of you say, I have come every day you wake up. The presence of the divine as you, facing a new day, is always here. You are not without God. And each day you say, I am, you are claiming your environment through the psyche, through the vibrational field, and the mandates of the claim are indeed present. When the divine self, invoked in form, knows who it is, what it is, and how it serves, it is simply an expression. This stops being an issue. You can imagine somebody being bilingual. They've always spoken one language. They move to another country where another language is spoken. Eventually, they begin to think in the new language. They have no use for the old. It may be useful for one afternoon on a telephone call, but you have begun to think and express as the new creature or the new citizen of this other land.
Last night, yesterday afternoon, we read in chapter 9 of A Course in Miracles, willing against reality, though impossible, can be made into a very persistent goal, even though you don't want it. Willing against reality. That's exactly what they just said here.
When I set an intention for the day before I do my diet, and this morning I just wrote, and I'm sure it was very much colored by the conversation that took place in Advaita and ACIM, but I just wrote on my page, I will to will thy will. I will to align to the higher will. Word, I am word through this intention. Word, I am word. And I just really do love this understanding that it's not this fighting against who I am as a personality. It's not about demeaning the personality at all, whatever that means, the individuated expression. It's about playing in the sandbox for as long as the impulse to play in the sandbox is alive. And then it's about the continuous choosing to merge the will of the individuated expression with this will that of the monad, or that which knows no separation. And it's gentle, and it's done, they use the word choice, um, and it's all love. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Livy, what you got?
Yeah, just real quick. Last night I had, so I'll just read what I wrote. Because instead of thinking and seeing the codependency that I have as something that is bad and needs to be fixed, because I judge so harshly. Hang on, sweetie. Can I accept and welcome it with love? Love makes all things possible. With God, all things are possible and made anew. And so there was just a lot of feeling, and I'm really learning to feel more, to really follow what my body is telling me and going where it needs to go. And so there's been a lot of feeling, feeling the pain of judgment, feeling the pain of codependency, and recognizing it's not anything that I need to fix. It's for me to bring and release. Well, first accept and see it instead of trying to pretend it's not there. And really releasing and accepting it. So thank y'all for showing me how to do that.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you can't release what you don't see. You can't see it if you don't accept it. Yes. Indigo, good morning.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here with all of you and do this. I just love what you just said. Just to, it's like if we have some feelings, whatever, just to step back and be with it, and watch it. Just watch. It's like I love watching the Indigo movie. Let her get pissed off. It's okay. Just watch the movie. It's not me. I am all light, all love. There's so I love that. And that actually really helped me because I was so or Indigo was so angry. And I couldn't get out of it. That was amazing. I could not get out of it. I was in so much rage. Indigo was in so much rage. And I actually had to like go away for a minute or whatever. But the next day, it was not a problem. It's like I don't know. I just was like, let me just sit with it. Let me sit with it. Let me be with it. And it was just so now it's changed for me. So that's why I love being here with all of you. It just teaches me to go, okay, this is for me. This is for me. Let me sit with it. Let me sit with whatever's going on. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. This is so amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sandra's up to read next, and you are going to read the whole page
Okay.
into
I'm
the
so
next.
glad. I don't know how this happened, but I love that I get to read this line.
I do too. I have it underlined too.
Did you plan that? Uh, it's just what Nandega was saying. She gets to be it and watch it at the same time. It's not either or. Now, everybody is human and divine, both. There really is no contradiction in the two. We have never encouraged you not to be a human being. It would be a ridiculous teaching. The teaching of becoming beyond human generally appeals to the egoic structure. I am going to my convention this week. We are all beyond human. We wear little capes and carry a tract and speak in tongues. Well, you may enjoy that. Indeed, you will learn through it. We do not condemn it nor even criticize it. If we poke some fun, we are poking fun at the aspect of self that seeks uniqueness and resplendency through an idea of separation. So we're both. It's not either or. And I think I went through a process where I had to kind of, the pendulum swing. I thought I was only this, and then I had to go, I'm not that, all the way over here. And then I came back to the middle where I realized I'm all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Until you understand that the janitor in the office holds as much value as the president of the company, you will be in folly. You have no idea what the man called janitor holds in creation. You have no idea of what he can claim, and perhaps he doesn't either. And you give properties to the president of the company that he may not earn. You do this through an idea of who he should be or must be, given his position. When someone says, I don't want to be here anymore, bring me to my next lifetime, bring me to heaven, where I can be with like-minded people who talk as I do. We want to send you back to school, an Arashist school, where people throw the trays at lunch and fight all day. Wow, that's a lesson right there. And understand, if you can, that they are God too. Then you will move to the next level, not through trying to separate yourself or decide what should be, but by realizing what is as God. Now we continue to use the word God for the simple reason that you understand the idea even in a distorted state. But you don't know God as you wish, and you will know God as God can be known through this interaction with us. We have often said the claim, you are known, simply means you don't have to find. You must receive. You must understand that you are already known, already seen, already loved. Stop seeking. Start receiving. Start saying yes. And stop saying when. Start saying, I am. And stop saying, I am not. Begin to agree that the physical form you have taken, an expression of God, is operating in a field that operates in agreement to an idea, whether the idea be separation or unification. That was a lot. When the guides are telling me to do this or do that, to stop this and stop that, it implies to me that I have some agency in this, that there's something for me to do, to turn my attention to. Stop doing this, start doing that. And I like that. I like having some direction.
This is a tricky one for me because I think the only agency I have is to accept what is.
Mm.
That's my agency. It's to stop resisting and start being in the flow. My participation is to say yes, and then to just be with whatever arises.
I think that's what they're actually saying. All these different words are like get in the flow, get in the flow.
I think so too. Yeah. No matter what it looks like, right?
Yes. And you are known, you are cherished.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to read that. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, that was a good section. John, good morning, John.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Amy. Thank you, Sandra, for reading that. I just got a question for you, Amy, about that agency thing, because what I got out of that was a little different. It's the agreement, the idea of agreement to separation or unification. So if I have agency, that means that I have choice. But to have no choice is to be robotic, and that's not agency. It's like, oh, I'm choosing to have one idea as opposed to something else. I don't understand how exactly he meant that. Or maybe I got it wrong, but I don't know.
No, it's a good question. I can think that I choose separation, but separation, as it says in the next sentence, is a lie. So I'm choosing an illusion. I can never choose an illusion.
But we're doing it all the time.
Are we separate?
It's like we believe we are doing it. It's like I believe I'm this body. It's like I believe the world is real. Um, it's I forget I'm spirit. I'm all light. I'm loved. I mean, I don't. It's really because that's how I was raised, or that was my experience.
Yeah. I can't, I can only choose an illusion in an illusion. So I can't make what is true untrue. And if God is one, then even though as God's being, I've hidden my oneness from myself, I can only ever be what I am in truth, which is one, right? And I can imagine many, many things in separation, but it doesn't make any of them true, right?
Oh no, it doesn't make it. But it can't deny that it's going on either. Unless I'm feeling unconditional love 100% of the time, then I'm choosing something else, in my opinion. But anyway, there's so many things to think about, so we won't bother with that. But just it came to my mind.
It's a really good point though, John. And it's one um, that confuses a lot of people and all the time, because this world is constantly pulling us into separation. That's the experience. Right. Okay, William, and then Sandra, and then Suzanne.
What occurs to me that even thinking I choose is just another illusion. That thy will be done to me seems it's all one and done. It's now. And so I can think whatever it is, and I'm not even in charge of that, but it's being done. So to me, it's now, and I get to, the divine is partly just being part of the divine. It's just being thy will. In it's it's like I rest in that, and it looks all whatever it looks that I'm choosing or not choosing, but it's thy will. So I just kind of surrender to that, and it seems like that feels so peaceful.
Mhm. It's a true nature. Thank you, William. Sandra, and then Suzanne.
I heard something that Cindy sent us that really helped the mind understand the mystery of this discussion we're having right here. And it was an audio from Regina Dawn Akers. And in it, she said something that really resonated with what the guides are constantly saying, because they are constantly saying choose. Through almost every other, they're constantly saying that. But she said there is, I don't know if I can get it exactly right, and maybe Cindy can put that out for everybody, but there is an intelligence and a wisdom that's guiding all of this. And that's the isness. She called it the isness of being. And then what happens is, as humans, we add to that. She calls it a formula. And what we add to that through our thoughts and our emotions, and then that equals what is manifested. And it kind of explains, then she goes on to say that, oh, it's the intelligence or the isness plus utterance. And I like that word utterance because the guides are always giving us words to utter. And that equals manifestation. And she said that utterance that we add as God, or the isness, and then we add our utterance, can reflect truth or it cannot reflect truth. And that's where the choice comes in. Even if we don't know, we're making a choice. So I just thought that just really helped me, because there are many times when I feel like I'm not making a choice at all, and it is just happening. And I'm learning to trust my experience and embrace the overall mystery of all of it, because we don't really know. I mean, we're trying to figure this out, but we don't really know. But anyway, she helped me to see why, because, there's always that why question. And some people answer that with why not, but that never satisfies me. But the why question, why do we have to have murder and mayhem and all these horrible, really horrible things that happen when we know that our source is good and loving? That why question. And it answers that because we were given the opportunity to experience these things and make a choice. So that's where it's not like I'm like trying to convince anybody. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm just sharing what my own contemplations have revealed.
I think it's really important that we make sure we understand who is making the choice. There is no personal self that makes a choice. The personal self thinks it makes a choice, but it is always the divine in motion, expressed as a personal self. I think it's really important that that is clear. Right? I am in God and God is in me, and there is no separation. Right? So there's no bad choice either. Right? Suzanne, what have you got?
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody. I love that Sandra brought in the idea of trust. And by that, when I first experienced the yes, and then the yes indicates to me that I am surrendering. And the beauty of that surrender is the trust that I don't know what it is. The choice for me is the yes. And after that, I'm not focused on a choice, but the trust is what allows me to experience whatever it is that proceeds from that yes, whether it makes sense to me or not, and know that that's exactly what I need. And just trust that. It is, it is, it is, it is. You know, that is God speaking. And whatever proceeds from that yes, because it's no longer me. It's no longer, choosing between any, you know, aspects. It's just trust. And when I can live in that trust, I feel I'm really understanding more of this, because we're trusting in the divine. We're not trusting in anything or any entity, earthbound entity. We're trusting in the divine. And yeah, so trust was a big thing for me, and is a big thing for me. And has been in my life a very winding road to come to. But I do believe that, and I do internalize that. Yeah. So thanks, everybody, for letting me express that.
In a way, trust is its own verification, isn't it, Suzanne?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Cindy and then William.
First, I want to say that the audio Sandra is referring to is in the Jesus of the MPP class, but it was not created for that class. So just in the last 45 seconds, I emailed Rhoda to see if I can freely share those audios. It's a copyrighted document, so I need permission before I could give it to anyone outside the class. Anything that, for me, I've started to refer to the activity of the I separate mind, and everything that separation is an illusion, it's not real. So I can't be that which feels separate. So more and more I am accepting that it's more true to state that I am choosing my identity to be that of the monad, which is also unique. It's like the merging of the energy of the monad, that which knows no separation, flowing through this container of a Cindy. And from there, I almost don't know what choice means. I know I keep running into these circumstances where it feels like I'm being given the invitation to fear or to contract. And it feels like I can actively choose to go down that route, or to choose to trust that which is beyond fear. And in that, I feel like I have agency. Um, but I don't know where that agency is coming from. So the question of who is the I, who is choosing, has become more and more interesting to me. And I can rest back into this space of feeling empowered by that. But also, I'm listening to this conversation and I keep hearing the watermelon crawl in the morning that I thought I was laying down to take a nap. You know, I'm gonna take a nap until Emma comes. And then I heard that voice saying, Cindy, you're gonna go to the store. I don't remember the exact words, but it dropped to go buy watermelon, if for anyone who didn't hear this story. And I didn't choose to get up out of bed to go buy watermelon. The feeling was low, oh, I guess I'm not taking a nap. I'm going to buy watermelon. And then getting in the car and turning the car on, and that song started playing, Watermelon Crawl. In that moment, the understanding that there is this divine benevolent intelligence that not only is in charge but knows me intimately and personally dropped in a way that just entertains me and allows me to rest in that. Um, and that's where I am. But mostly I just wanted to say I heard you, Sandra, and I'm looking for permission, and then I'll share it with others. But I love us.
Thank you. Okay, William, you're up next.
Well, I guess that what I said earlier about when I choose, it's just another illusion. I see that separation is a lie. And when I find myself saying I choose, I'm already separating. It's I choosing. So I like what he was saying. Say yes and just receive. You are known. So I am. There's no choosing. I am. I am now. So that's what I get from it. That even the separation, I know how much my that part of me that loves to think I'm in charge and choosing and so forth, and I hear it over and over and over, and then suddenly let go. I will. I I don't need to choose. I can't choose. It's a done thing. It's just I'm I.
Exactly. Who is choosing? Who is choosing? That is a
Wait a minute.
really important question. There is no separate person choosing. It is
That's good
all the
saying.
divine in motion. Thank you, William.
And even saying this is more separation.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Alka, and then Libby's going to read.
I just wanted to talk about my experience with, I was doing this watching thoughts, and then this urge to stop thinking came, and I asked the question, who is the I that wants to stop thinking? And as I sat with that, I really could not find anything. That was my experience with the question, who is the I? I didn't find anything that I could explain in any way. That, yeah, that's all I have to say. There was nothing to find. No, I wouldn't, that's not the right way. I couldn't find anything. When I asked the question, who is the I didn't find anything at all. So my contribution.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's always good to ask, right? It's always good to ask that question. It's never a waste of time. All right, Livy, you're going to start at the top of 66.
All right. Now, separation is a lie. It's a lie that's accrued evidence. But union is present and will restate its truth in the face of any lie. We have said for many years, in truth, a lie will not be held. And the disfiguration of identity that you have accrued through a belief in separation is not only being attended to now, it is being attended to in a mass way. The polarization you are experiencing in many worlds, many cultures, many countries is part of this process. It's a way to understand how you have operated even when you have pretended to be polite, which is such a Southern thing. I will be nice to my neighbor. I will invite her to tea, perhaps once, to show I'm a good neighbor. But God forbid she should spend a holiday at my house. God forbid I have to go sit in their backyard and listen to those children whine. You honor politeness as a remedy. It's nice to keep the peace, but as long as your prejudice and your hatred are still there, you might as well see them, because they will not be claimed in a higher order when they are being stuffed away. To stuff something away is not to heal it or transform it. It is to make it safe for later use. I will not show my anger now, but one day it will be there. Perhaps it will be there by a self-inflicted wound, but the anger will need to do something. When something is seen, whether it be by way of deciding what something is or how something should be seen, when something is seen, it can be known anew. This is not a teaching of pretending. It cannot be. If you have an issue that must be attended to, you may need to see it in order to attend. When there is corruption, when there is war, when there is deceit, it must be seen to be able to move it. And boy, howdy, has that proven true for me, because I stuffed and didn't want to look for a long time. And last night, I'm really, really in my deepest being understanding that in order for judgment, these labels of different things that have been my experience, I'm allowed, for so long I didn't want to see them. I couldn't see them, and I sure as heck didn't want you to see them. And the war I had was in myself, and at one point I hated myself, and I just made my outsides match that by marrying an abusive man. And last night I also wrote, the small self sees and feels shame as something to fear and that is fatal. And the self feels defenseless when shame appears. And I'm so grateful for the lessons of, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, and to feel it. Like last night, I really felt what judging feels like, and really held myself and said, I see you, and just really, really held on to that. And boy, so this really, really, really spoke to me. And if I am not seeing something, like when I wasn't willing to look at where the anger was coming from, it was like God went, okay, I'm going to put these people in your life that anger can, be going out to, until you're willing to look at it. And so really being willing to feel the feelings underneath all this is proving to be incredibly healing. And really the only way I'm willing to do that is because of being a part of this group and understanding, like you said, asking the question, who's saying that? Who's making that judgment? And just start questioning the messages that have been ingrained and are so deep, and that I'm able to take to a healing place and release them now. And so it's really, really, really such a gift to be able to hold myself and rock myself and comfort myself. Or just, thank you.
Thank you, Libby. And Dago's up to read next if you want. And you can start at the bottom of page 66 if you want.
Okay. Now, You like blaming. You like pointing fingers. But you must remember, all of you, that if you can see it, you are already accord to it. Vibrational accord, which is agreement. Lifting to the upper room is not escaping these things. It's realigning to a level of tone where those things can be reknown through presence and being, or at least the acknowledgement that God is. The true blessing that God is, where the awful thing seems to be, where God is, where the one who has been so harmed that she must harm, that she must harm others can be. God can only be. And the realization of this beyond any wall, beyond any ceiling, you lift, you claim, and you agree to what you can only be in truth. There is no one who is not loved. I'll read that one again. There is no one born who is not loved. You must know this. There is nothing in form that is not of God. How you operate, how you choose, to throw a rock instead of carving it into something lovely or building a useful home with it is entirely up to you. When the will shifts to a higher agreement, you will not be debating. You will not be debating right action. You will be comprehending it and then choosing so as you may. He interrupts the teaching. But what if I don't want to? What if I want to do something that perhaps I shouldn't do? Then you will learn. Then you will learn those lessons that come with the act. That's what you often do. All of you do. I know I should be faithful, but just this one time. I know I shouldn't eat that ice cream, but just this one time. I know it's not good for me to utilize drugs for any recreation, but give me one more. I'm sorry, but give me this, but give me some more. You like, you like some, you like your ways. You enjoy your lives. We are not saying don't enjoy your lives. There may be perfect opportunities through any of those acts to develop in new ways. They are not bad acts. They may simply be a lower choice. You understand yourself in experiential ways. Perhaps you need to stub your toe in order to understand what looking where you're going is a useful act.
Thank you, Indigo. Thank you. There are a couple of sentences in there that grabbed me. What grabbed any of you?
Well, I liked what it said. There's no one born who is not loved. You must know this. So that's just a great reminder. Like what, once again, that whatever I'm faced with, this person is loved. But even more important, to remember that I'm loved. So anytime that I come up with an unlovable story or unloved, it's another lie. And that's at the basis of a lot of these things. Like what I really like is that Livy is talking about her unraveling of all those stories, appreciating it, all that. And it's the same thing that all the rest of us are coming to. It's just untwining this thing. And the bottom of it is an unlovable story or unloved story, and it's the denial that of the love that's everywhere and that's all encompassing. So it's just to remember that although this pain or suffering in others and in myself is as basic, goes back to there's no one born who is not loved. You must know this. So I'll end it there, but that's huge, huge for me today. Thanks for asking the question.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally. That doesn't that just make you feel good? It just makes you feel, and feeling good is what we are. So it resonates, right? Yeah.
By the way, who's the one who says that I am unloved or unlovable? That's who is the I that says that? And the answer to that question for me is I don't know. But there's one word missing. I don't know yet. Because there's no question without an answer. I just don't know that answer yet. And maybe one day, or maybe one lifetime, I will discover that experientially. Hey, that'll be the day we rock and roll, eh?
Mhm. The only thing I can tell, the answer for me is the one that thinks she's separate from God. And then I have to go to, is there anything separate from God? No. Therefore, the one that thinks she is separate from God is not the truth. Suzanne, what did you get out of it?
The sentence that I liked the most, or that resonated deep, was the last sentence. Perhaps you need to stub your toe in order to understand that looking where you're going is a useful act. And I take that to mean that we all have an inner wisdom that is there to help us avoid stubbing our toe, but for whatever reasons, we're not engaged in aligning with that part of us. So I think what that's saying to me is when I'm aligned with with knowing that I'm guided and using my discernment, my lessons are not as radical. They're not as harrowing. Even when it's something that I really don't want, I know that whatever happened, I wasn't really looking. I wasn't really looking where I was going.
Thank you. Yeah. You understand yourself in experiential ways.
Right, right. Well, you can learn, I believe I can learn to know myself in a different experience.
Thank you. William.
Well, I love that. There's no one born who is not loved. There's nothing in form that's not a good. And put that with there are no bad acts. They may simply be a lower choice. And that's where I see the innocence in whatever. Nothing I do is wrong until I think about it, until I separate myself. And I can't find that I. The truth is, I am. So again, it's when I take myself out of that and try to find that separate I, that I take myself out of the I-ness. It's like I cannot find I when I just am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the things that struck me was the sentence in that first paragraph, when the will shifts to a higher agreement. I wonder if anybody has any thoughts about that. When the will shifts to a higher agreement, you may know how you may choose other, and it will not be effortful.
It's a sentiment of like pure trust.
Pure flow. Yeah,
Yeah,
pure flow.
yeah.
I
And
find,
I
sorry.
no, you're good. I'm
No,
just
no,
like
no,
thinking
you go.
about flow state and how like that feels so potent and tangible when it's like when you're really in the throes of it. But then like you get out of it and you're like you enter these periods of like trudging through mud and it
Exactly.
doesn't feel as good. But
Exactly.
you always know that that point is accessible under the right like circumstance, I guess under alignment. Like it is just will and learning how to play that tug of rope and balance that scale, swing the pendulum not too far to one side, balance it out like Sandra was saying.
Thank you. Alka.
So I found out that it eventually I get to the stage where everything becomes easier, but first I've stubbed my toes a million times. And every time I've learned something from it. And the second thing is that the universe gives you the opportunity to learn again and again and again. And I have recently learned, I have this image of myself as a calm person. And I have recently learned underneath, I'm angry with everyone. And once I saw that, it became easier to start letting go of it. I get up in the morning and I think to myself, who am I angry with today? I do that now, not before. Before I thought, oh, I'm such a Zen calm person. And the universe threw me a curveball to say, here, watch yourself now. And I mean, in appreciation of myself, I did see what the universe was trying to teach me. I realized, wow, I'm angry with everybody. So I think you're given the opportunity to learn again and again and again and again and the lessons become easier when you start learning.
You know, I just love the joy with which you said that. there's so much joy in that realization. Like one would think, oh, I'm angry at everybody, but it seems so freeing to hear you say that.
Well, it was because the funny thing was I always thought of myself as a calm person, and that delusion was just shattered, and it really did make me laugh. Of course, the whole experience that I went to was extremely distressing, a roller coaster. But even in the roller coaster, I was able to stand back and watch myself. And I recognized this, I was being given an opportunity. And eventually I recognized what the opportunity was. And I was really grateful for being given this opportunity to be present, to watch myself. And in the end, it did make me laugh at the fact that I thought I was a calm person, but I was not. It still makes me laugh.
It does sort of blow my mind how much Source is in love with itself, that it gives itself every opportunity to know itself. I mean, that is so much love. Well, it's 11:12, and let's hear from John. Maybe we'll end our reading today and right there, and hear from John.
I just want to thank Alka. I just want to thank Alka because that was utterly amazing. You reporting that, because that to me is a demonstration of how you've been able to let go a whole big story there. There's a lot of air went out of that tire. Just and the laughter that went with it, it's exactly what Amy says. It was just pure joy. So the sting is out of it now. You've recognized it, seen it, and reported it to us. And I think that's a great lesson for you, but for all of us to share in, and I think that's the value of having a group like this, because your learning opportunity there, Alka, and your reporting of it has really helped, very, very helpful in my opinion. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank the guide for bringing us Alka today, and everybody else.
Yeah, what John just said. Ditto. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Cindy, and we'll start right there next week on page 67 at that bottom paragraph. And I've marked it, so.
Love that head juke, Cindy.
Love the what?
The head juke.
Well, let me just stop the recording.